My collection has gone from this to this. Now why is that? Well, that's what I'm going to get into in this video. I'm going to be talking about how I've just kind of grown out of figures. Whether that's collecting them, displaying them, posing them, whatever. I just simply don't like doing it anymore. So I used to collect figures. Figures ranging from the Jakks Pacific Sonic line, the Jada Street Fighter line, or just any figures in general really. As long as it was like video game related, if it piqued my interest, I'd collect them. First of all, I want to talk about probably the biggest reason why I don't collect figures anymore, and that's just because simply I'm getting older. At the time of recording this, I'm 21 years old, and yeah, I just look at things differently now. Especially figures, you know. I look at figures and they're just pieces of plastic really, and they don't do anything. You don't do anything with them. They just sit on a shelf collecting dust. You know, they're annoying to clean. They fall over a lot because a lot of them just can't stand up properly. You know, they cost a bit of money. I don't know, there's just a lot of reasons why I just don't collect them anymore. At the end of the day, they are literally just pieces of plastic based on franchises you like. But I don't think you necessarily need to like collect merch of a franchise you like, just show your, I don't know, your appreciation, I guess. I feel like that's just a coping thing a lot of us do, where it's like, oh yeah, I like this thing, so I'm gonna buy merch of it, just to like, we just say that to ourselves just to justify buying it. But at the end of the day, there's no parallel between like the IP and the merch of the IP. It's just, I don't know why we do it, but it's, you know, it's just how it is. They're just pieces of plastic, and that's it really. They'll end up in a landfill one day. We can't take them beyond the grave. You know, it's like, what is the point? Moving on to other reasons. The other reason why I stopped collecting was the pricing. Now, I don't think the pricing of each individual figure, at least the ones I was buying, were actually that bad, but it's when you add them all up is when you realise like how much you've actually spent on them. Like, I'll look at the figures on my shelf and I'm just like 10, 10, 20, 20, 25, 25, 30, 30, and it all adds up to like 200 quid or something. And it's like, man, you know, I could have used that money for literally anything else, you know, for trips or even like video games or something, or just, you know, saving up. You know, they can add up very quickly, even like cheap ones. You know, like the Sonic ones I used to buy were like £10 each, but when I look back at how many like I actually have stored away, you know, that's 10, 10, 10, 10, 10, there's a bunch of them. That will probably add up to close to around 200, as I said earlier. So yeah. Another reason why I stopped collecting was just the FOMO aspect of it all. I just got sick of the whole, you know, we're gonna release a wave, but like one of the characters for some reason will only get like one figure per store, and if you don't get it now, you know, you're never gonna be able to get it because they'll just either not re-release it or they'll just won't stock enough. I remember one specific occasion that really kind of turned my whole viewpoint on it all. It was with the Jakks Sonic one. I'm going to be mentioning Jakks Sonic a lot because that was like the main one I was collecting at the time. I remember Mephiles came out in one of the waves, and he was very rare. And I think out of like every shop I went to, there was one Mephiles. I didn't get him because I'm not bothered about him, but there was one. We seen one of them, and it was just like at the bottom of a shelf in Sainsbury's, just randomly there, not even with the other Sonic figures. It was just plonked on the bottom shelf for like 8 quid, and that really kind of changed my perspective on it all, because it was like, yeah, I'm just getting sick of this. I'm getting sick of like, it feels like you're just being gaslit and manipulated by these companies to like spend your money. You know, it's like, oh yeah, you want this figure? Well, you better get it within like a week or two, otherwise we're just not going to bother re-releasing it ever again. And then you have to pay some like scalper on eBay. So yeah, the FOMO, I just got sick of the FOMO, man. Like it's just annoying. It's just annoying. It was annoying to deal with, and I just can't be bothered anymore. You know, I got stuff to do. I got responsibilities. I can't be like hunting around online and in stores for, again, pieces of plastic. And linking back to FOMO in a way, another reason why I stopped was that these companies are just so backwards, man. Like, I don't know the logistics of it all, but like, why do super specific toys only release in like America or some other region? Why does each region just get like their own specific brand of toys? Like, for example, the Mario Jax line I used to collect a bit of, and they released King Boo, and I like King Boo. He's like one of my favourite characters in anything. But like, he was only released in America, and it's like, why? Why is he only in America? This makes no sense whatsoever. Do British people just not like King Boo or something? Like, I don't understand why he was only in America. It's like just a bigger version of a Boo. I can't imagine it being that expensive to produce. And it wasn't even like the Luigi Mansion one, it was literally just like the plain one with like a smaller Boo and a smaller Luigi toy. But it was just never released over here. And I don't know why. That's one I'd still want it, but they have no signs of bringing it over here anytime soon, and I'm not importing it for like 50 quid, And then another example is Jet the Hawk from the Sonic line. They have re-released him recently because of Crossworlds, I guess, but back in the day, like, you couldn't get him at all. He was only in America, and it's like, out of everyone in that wave, why Jet specifically, and why America specifically? Like, why? I don't understand how this works. You'd think the whole wave would be America only, but no, so we're just gonna pick this one random ass character and put him only in America because why not? Another problem I have as well is just like, sometimes they just take ages to come over here, like how cartoons used to be, like America would get a cartoon in like January and then like everywhere else wouldn't get it till like December. I hate when that happens, and it happens with collecting figures as well. I remember Cammy from the Street Fighter line. She took a while to get over here in the UK, whereas in America she came out like instantly, which is a bit ironic because she's British. You would have thought, she would have came over here first, but never mind. I feel like I bring up all like most of the main points I have, so I'm just gonna spitball some smaller points I have. Now I might have actually briefly brung these up earlier, but I'll explain them again. Cleaning again. Dusting them off is annoying. You either have to like soak them in water because you can't get in between like the joints and stuff. Polishing them in general is just annoying. When you're cleaning your shelves, you have to take them all off. You gotta clean your shelf and then you gotta put them all back on, and that's if they stand up properly, because half of them just don't stand at all. And even if you have like those acrylic stands, that doesn't mean they're gonna hold up, because a lot of them have like different waist sizes. Just different size proportions in general, so just because like one figure fits perfectly into the stand doesn't mean another figure will. I remember specifically the Sonic ones used to just completely topple them over because they were all pretty top heavy. Another point I want to bring up is just clutter, really. Especially if you have a small room like me. Having a lot of figures can be really overwhelming, It's like you look at your room and it just looks like an uncoordinated tip. It just looks like a bomb site. It looks like a mess. You got all boxes under your bed. You got figures everywhere. It just doesn't look nice. It looks cluttered, and yeah, I think that can add to like OCD as well, because that's something I kind of suffer with. And yeah, just having like all that clutter in your room, I don't know, it kind of gives you a headache. Give anyone else a headache? It gives me a bit of a headache. Just like each figure is like an extra bit of stress to worry about. It's one more figure you gotta take off the shelf and clean and put back. It's one more figure you gotta make sure it doesn't fall. It's one more figure you gotta make sure it's in like direct sunlight because it'll bleach. It's one more thing to buy. It gives me a headache. It just makes me annoyed. So that's why I recommend, if you're gonna be collecting, just stick to a niche. Stick to like a few things and just hone in on them. Don't like collect multiple of a character or like the entire line. Just pick your favorites, go from there. That's just kind of like a few reasons why I don't bother collecting anymore. As I get older, hobbies change, interests change, priorities change, responsibilities take over, all that stuff. And yeah, it's just, when it comes to collecting, it's just too much work for what it's worth, Like finding the figures and then finding out the price, finding out that if it's even in your country in the first place, finding out what the stock is like. I don't know, it just got annoying. And as I got older, I just kind of realised that I'm just spending all this money on just pieces of plastic. They're not doing anything. I'm not using them. I'm not even in my room a lot of the time, so I don't even see them much. And if I am in my room, I'm usually, you know, doing something else. I'm not like staring at my figures on the shelf. That's why I just kind of have the few figures I have now, because, you know, they stand fine, they look cool. There's only a few of them. That's even if I keep them. I might not keep them. I just kind of left them there because I think you know, this does look okay. But yeah, if any of yous collect figures, let me know in the comments below if you still do it or if you've stopped like me. And yeah, I will see you in a bit.